You won't believe that two of the most powerful women in hip-hop, Nicki Minaj and Cardi B, once turned the stage of music into a battlefield. Behind the Grammys, behind the red carpets, there was a rivalry that didn't just spark headlines. It shook the very culture of rap. Some moments were public explosions, others were private jabs, and together, they created one of the fiercest celebrity feuds of the decade. Stay till the end, because the biggest moment in this feud wasn't the shoe-throwing fight you remember. It was something far more shocking that fans still argue about today. The rise of Nicki Minaj, the queen of rap. In the late 2000s, Nicki Minaj was unstoppable. From Super Bass to Anaconda, she dominated charts, features, and the entire female rap game. Nicki wasn't just an artist, she was an empire winning awards, setting records, and building a fan base that called themselves the Barbs. But when you sit at the top of the throne too long, challengers always come. The arrival of Cardi B, a new challenger. In 2017, Cardi B exploded with Bodak Yellow. Suddenly, a new star was on the scene, raw, loud, authentic, and impossible to ignore. Cardi wasn't polished like Nicki. She was straight out of the Bronx, with reality TV fame and a personality bigger than life. The song shot to #1, making Cardi only the second female rapper in history to top the Billboard Hot 100 with a solo track. The first was Lauryn Hill in 1998. Overnight, fans and media began asking the dangerous question, is Cardi B the new queen of rap? That question lit the first spark. The subtle jabs, friendly or shady. At first, Nicki congratulated Cardi publicly, calling her success good for women in rap. But beneath the smiles were hints of tension. Nicki complained in interviews about female rappers not showing her enough respect. Cardi, on the other hand, claimed she didn't need to kiss anyone's ring. The industry began fueling the fire, pitting them against each other. Fans divided Barbs on one side, Bardi gang on the other. The stage was set for war, the Motorsport drama. Then came Motorsport, a track by Migos featuring both Nicki and Cardi. On paper, it was history. Two of the biggest female rappers on the same song. But behind the scenes, it became one of the most controversial collabs in hip-hop. Nicki claimed she was asked first and Cardi was added later. Cardi said Nicki changed her verse after Cardi joined. The video shoot was awkward, they weren't even filmed together. Interviews turned shady, with Nicki saying she felt ambushed, and Cardi insisting there was no problem. But fans saw through it. The Cold War had begun. Award shows, silent tension. By 2018, Cardi was winning awards left and right. Her album Invasion of Privacy went platinum, and she won Best Rap Album at the Grammys, the first solo female rapper ever to do so. Nicki, who had been chasing Grammys for years without a win, was suddenly silent. Rumors spread that Nicki felt threatened, and Cardi hinted in interviews that someone was trying to block her behind the scenes. Industry insiders whispered about backdoor politics, with both camps accusing each other of sabotage. The Fashion Week explosion. Then came the night that turned whispers into headlines. September 7th, 2018, New York Fashion Week. At a Harper's Bazaar party, Cardi and Nicki finally came face to face. What happened next went down in celebrity history. Cardi allegedly approached Nicki about comments involving her daughter. The argument escalated. Security surrounded them. Shoes flew, literally. Cardi hurled a red high heel across the room, aiming for Nicki. She left the event with a swollen forehead, shouting that she would never let anyone talk about her child. The images went viral instantly. Cardi storming barefoot, Nicki untouched but smug. The feud now a global spectacle. Radio wars, Queen Radio versus social media. Nicki responded the way only Nicki could with Queen Radio. On her Beats One show, she blasted Cardi, calling her a liar, a criminal, and someone who relied on sympathy instead of talent. Nicki claimed Cardi's career was built on payola paying radio stations to play her songs. Cardi fired back on Instagram, releasing a series of videos where she called Nicki bitter and accused her of trying to stop her bag. Fans were glued to their screens, each side dissecting every word. The feud wasn't just music anymore, it was full-blown entertainment. The industry divide. Their rivalry split the hip-hop community. Some artists took sides, others stayed silent. Collaborations became political. If you worked with Cardi, you risked losing Nicki. If you sided with Nicki, Cardi's team wouldn't call you. It wasn't just two women fighting, it was two empires colliding. Attempts at peace, but only on the surface. In late 2018, after months of chaos, both rappers claimed they wanted to move past the drama. They tweeted, "Let's focus on positivity," and fans thought the war might finally be over. But the peace didn't last. Subtle jabs continued in songs, in interviews, and in fan interactions. Nicki's verse on "No Flag" was interpreted as shade toward Cardi. Cardi's Instagram likes hinted at disses aimed at Nicki. The feud simmered, never boiling over but never dying. The Grammys' legacy war. When Cardi won the Grammy for Invasion of Privacy, Nicki went on a Twitter rant about being blackballed by the industry. She hinted that Cardi's success came from favoritism, not talent. Cardi clapped back, saying her hard work couldn't be denied. It wasn't just about awards anymore. It was about legacy. Who would go down in history as the true queen of rap? The fans fueling the fire. Perhaps the biggest enemy in this feud wasn't Nicki or Cardi themselves. It was the fans. The Barbs and the Barty gang took every word, every picture, every rumor, and turned it into war. Death threats, online trolling, hacked accounts. The feud became bigger than the artists. Even when Nicki and Cardi tried to ignore each other, their fans wouldn't let it die. The present day, still unresolved. Today, years later, the feud hasn't reached the peace fans hoped for. They haven't collaborated since Motorsport, and both continue to subtly shade each other. Nicki remains an icon, with over a decade of hits and an influence that shaped modern female rap. Cardi, meanwhile, continues to prove she's not a one-hit wonder, building her career brick by brick. The rivalry may have cooled, but the scars remain. Me, the moment fans will never forget. And now, the twist I promised at the start. The moment fans remember most isn't the Grammys. It isn't the Motorsport drama. It isn't even the Fashion Week shoe fight. It's what came after. Nicki publicly admitted she would never forget what was said about her on that night, and Cardi swore she would never forgive the people who tried to sabotage her career behind the scenes. The feud may never officially end, because it wasn't just about two women. It was about respect, power, and the crown of hip-hop itself. Nicki Minaj and Cardi, B2 queens, one throne, and a feud that changed rap forever.